Can you talk a bit about your job here at Comcast Spotlight, just your day-to-day and your responsibilities?
Sure. Um, well, I'm responsible for our national ad sales business on the corporate end. We're really a decentralized organization. We have 4 divisions. We have 90 markets. The markets and the divisions are ultimately responsible for all of their business. But we have this corporate entity, so I'm fortunate to be the Vice President of National Advertising Sales. I get to oversee that business from the national side. That really flows very much directly into our regional business too, because our national and our regional businesses both fit into our interconnect business. So there's a lot of crossover there. And a lot of our national advertisers, will buy national spot or national markets, but they may be regional, if they're located in a Chicago or in an Atlanta. So again, we work very closely with the regional business. So my job is to some extent crosses over in that regard. Um, it's a lot about trying to improve our systems and make our business better. We've put a lot of time into creating a high set of standards that our markets and our national sales managers and our general sales managers could use as a guide. We've put time and work into that. A lot of that seems like basic stuff, but it's not. It's very much everything in terms of how we prepare and go to market, how we look at our inventory, and how we evaluate our pricing, how we package it together, and then setting priorities beyond that. With the way we pull our sports and our event programming, getting broad and deep across 20, 30, 40 networks and into our day parts. We think that we're spending a lot of time now trying to understand, how spot media is really planning and buying spot cable. They're still looking at us very much like television stations. We're not television stations. We're a cable delivery system, and if you go into the national marketplace and look how advertisers are buying national cable, you'll see that they're buying 20 and 30 and 40 networks broad and 7 day parts deep. We think that's the best way to do it, because it enables the advertiser and the agency to pull back the most impressions that have migrated from broadcast television, and then we can put them together in packages to be way more efficient on pricing. So that's a shift that I'm very much involved with at the major agencies. I spend a lot of time with business development. We're a category-focused company. We're strong in certain categories like automotive and our tune-in business, political, of course. We have to put extra time and work into developing some of the other categories, perhaps retail and travel and financial. So I'm very much involved with those developmental processes and trying to move the organization together, so that we can put our time and our work and our energy towards areas that we have the best opportunity to be successful with and to grow our business. I work with NCC Media, who's our national sales organization. I speak with them every day. They've got a large organization, well over 200 sellers and 15 national offices, so I'm very connected to them, and we depend on them to be highly effective at what they do. So I'm their primary contact, and I try to set good examples there and communicate well inside of that organization, so they can move in step with the rest of our national business.
So it's my understanding that you represent more of the cable interests, but your overall company also owns a broadcast network. Are you partnering with broadcast? Are you positioning against broadcast? How does that work for you?
Right. That's a good question. We're one company now. It's really only been 2 years since that all took place. I would say, first off, Comcast Spotlight sells the ad time for the cable systems, the interconnects, and now the extended interconnects, which is I+. Those are cable and alternative delivery systems. So we're not selling broadcast television, if that's what the first part of that question is. And I know of no plan that in place that that's going to happen in the immediate future. So that's not what we're doing there. Although we have good relationships with the NBC side of the family. There's a lot of programming that crosses over. Most of the earliest signs of that had to do with product that crossed over from broadcast to cable. Just saw it the last few weeks with the Olympics. There were 150 hours or so on NBC on the network. And then, of course, there was 550 hours on 4 cable networks. We sold a lot of cable advertising and a lot of advertising on Xfinity.com associated with the Olympics. We had a good sense of awareness of what was going on with the NBC, but they were selling that separate, as were we. You look at a product like golf, where we own the Golf Channel, and NBC has a bunch of golf tournaments. Again, as you look at the way the production has been developed there, you'll see the golf insignia on NBC often. Obviously, that's the production arm of that. You can just see how the relationship flows back and forth between that product. We're out there selling golf on Golf Channel. Again, we know the people at golf. We're getting to know them at NBC. Not really sure where that all goes, but seems like a logical relationship to build and develop. And I would guess as integration becomes more and more of the norm, there's potentially some opportunities down the road. I think it would primarily depend on the advertisers, the situation, the agencies perhaps that are associated with that. So I'd say we're open to making good decisions around how to get the most out of our ad units and our ad inventory as it relates to specific advertisers and categories. And if that means we draw closer to NBC in doing so, I think there's many in the company that are thinking that way.